Good morning. This is Alan Skinner. This week's video presentation discusses the scholarly works that I obtained by searching in the Jerry Falwell Library's American History and Life with Full Text database. After some unsuccessful keyword searches, I settled on exploring articles related to conscription and World War I. And by doing so, I found several very good articles useful for my chosen topic on the National Army of World War I, specifically focused on the 81st Division. So I was particularly excited to find John Finger's 1986 article, Conscription, Citizenship, and Civilization, as it dealt directly with my chosen dissertation topic, which is wonderful. Dr. Finger is a professor of history at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, and he presents a fascinating interdisciplinary essay on soldiers that were Eastern Cherokee Indians. The 81st Division was formed of men principally from men drafted in South Carolina, and included this contingent of Eastern Cherokee. So the material for his essay were drawn from primary sources, principally federal and government records. And what I thought was fascinating is he actually had gathered oral history recordings from several of these surviving veterans. So just a fascinating primary source. Finger opens his essay by summarizing the history of the Eastern Cherokee, which were a tribal band that had avoided the Trail of Tears deportation in 1838 to remain in the hills of North Carolina. So when war and conscription came in 1917, tribal leaders, draft boards, and federal administrators struggled to resolve the legal ambiguity of the Eastern Cherokee about their citizenship. Ultimately, about 70 of the Eastern Cherokee men were drafted into uniform and served with distinction in France. And I was especially excited when reading Finger's article, and he reveals the largest contingent of Eastern Cherokee, about 17 men, actually were assigned to the 81st Division. Thus, Finger's work will directly contribute to my own social research on the 81st Division. The second selected work is history professor Nancy Ford's essay, Mindful of the Traditions of His Race, which was a study on dual identity and foreign-born soldiers in the American Army during World War I. So for material, Ford draws from government archives, principally documents from the War Department's Provost Marshal and Military Intelligence Divisions, articles from the Army's Infantry Journal, and then supplementary information from other scholarly works. Her analysis reveals about 500,000 men, roughly 20% of those inducted into service, were of foreign birth. And, so this large number of unassimilated foreigners causes concerns for the War Department. First, because there's potential disloyalty in the ranks, and more importantly is the ability of these men to perform effectively in battle, under the command of well-educated and native English-speaking American officers. So interestingly, Ford details how the military resorts to progressive social welfare policies in addressing the issue. And, rather than harsh disciplinary measures, it's more paternalistic in nature and, a way of actually educating and assimilating these soldiers. So it's quite an interesting topic. So Ford's work opens a new line of inquiry for my own dissertation research. So when I analyzed the social composition of the 81st Division, I plan to incorporate a data field to figure out as much as possible those men of foreign birth or dual citizenship. And I'll do that by analysis of training documents and records for the time when the division was formed at Camp Jackson. And then also I'll look for special foreign language documents and any programs that were offered to help assimilate those non-native speakers. So to summarize, the scholarly sources obtained by the Jerry Falwell Library's American History and Life database certainly helped support my secondary research question, an analysis of the social composition of draftees in the 81st Division. Moreover, analysis of the bibliography for each essay had identified new primary and scholarly sources for use in my research. Thank you, and this concludes my presentation.